Has it ever happened to you in a relationship that she simply refuses to commit, no matter how much you put into it? Consider for a second the possibility that you could be surprised to learn that there are times when acting contrary to your instincts actually pays off. Hold on tight, because I'm about to spill the beans on 5 mind-blowing reverse psychology strategies that will alter your perspective on love indefinitely. Trust me when I say they aren't just methods. They're shifts in thinking that might make all the difference. Please subscribe and like the video before we break them down. I promise that by the end of this, you will know how to enhance your relationships, so stick around. Alright, let's get into it. 1. Avoid placing her on a pedestal. Do you remember the precise second you saw her? What about the butterflies in your stomach? The excitement of waiting for her next message or smile? The extent to which she meant to you was profound. She occupied your thoughts constantly. Maybe you even thought highly of her. In the end, isn't it just normal to fantasize about that one particular someone? One catch is that it can lead to an imbalance if done consistently. You begin to question your own competence, because she appears too wonderful to be real. When you initially noticed that her contributions weren't the same, it was probably a shock. Maybe her responses were slower, or she became emotionally distant. You could have pleaded with her more earnestly, hoping she'd change her mind, and gone to greater efforts to win her over. But her tone had changed, and you could see she wasn't as invested. Here we see the application of reverse psychology. You can't expect the relationship to stay balanced if you always prioritize her above you. As your feelings for her grow, you start to prioritize her needs above your own and treat her like a jewel. Take a moment to think about how frequently you let yourself feel bad about yourself because she wasn't responding the way you wanted her to. It's as if you're losing sight of the reality that you're alienating her as you go to extraordinary measures to gain her acceptance. What matters most is that you don't think highly of her. It sounds like a real challenge. Everything you've worked for seems to be for naught when this happens. The truth is, though, that you can show her how precious you are when you stop making her your center of gravity. In order to get her attention, you don't have to prove yourself. There has been no change in your feelings for her. No, it just means you put yourself first more often. Recognize that you are a great partner because of your interests, achievements, and strengths. She starts to view you as an equal, a person with his own life and limitations. And incredible things start to happen when you stop placing her on that unapproachable pedestal. Always remember that love is most felt when two people stand together. After that, you start to wonder, what can I offer? I can't remember the last time you felt pride in yourself, not in her judgment, but in your accomplishments. I assure you, things will shift once you stop focusing on her and begin to highlight yourself. The most influential aspects of the partnership, in my opinion, will include transformation. 2. Master the silent treatment. Please allow me to explain, so that the term silent treatment does not seem meaningless or inconsequential. In the past, how long has it been since you felt overwhelmed by your feelings? I totally get why you wanted to yell, weep, or beg her to understand how you felt. Very well, but I must ask, what was the outcome of that deed of yours? Did she feel a pull toward her? Did she change her mind to agree with you? Had any effect at all, or had it merely served to heighten her anxiety? Make her feel overwhelmed and drive her farther away? Think about all the times she could have stayed silent instead of engaging with you. It was probably annoying to you at first. The answer is unclear. You may have experienced discomfort as a result. But think about it. Wasn't that silence moving in some way? It made you want to do things like speak up, reach out, and find out the truth. Being quiet is powerful, my friend. Sitting quietly can be an effective tool for emotional regulation. Being always available and attempting to get her attention will destroy any air of mystery you may have been trying to cultivate. But after you step back, give her some space, and let her wonder where you went, you'll start to feel more in control of the situation. It's like you're drawing her away from you. She misses being with you and wonders why you're no longer interested in her. That sliver of curiosity, though, very powerful indeed. So let's attempt to put a name to this. Have you ever experienced a situation where she reconnected with you the second you took a little break? Maybe she called or texted you out of the blue. How did you feel when that happened? I bet you felt strong and confident. The impression that you were in command was given by you. She will realize your worth when you give her the silent treatment. You shouldn't punish her by remaining silent. That's the most crucial thing. That makes no difference. Making space for a productive conversation about your relationships, needs and wants is more important than taking advantage of the other person. By giving her room to miss you, you're essentially giving her what she wants. Recall the frustration you felt when she responded slowly to your attempts to contact her. Do you notice anything that doesn't add up? Has the seed of doubt started to grow in your mind? Feel for a second what it will be like for her when you decide to stop messaging her. You and your partner both benefit from the emotional space that you provide, which is not a bad thing, but does let each of you grow at your own speed. Quietness is a key to mastering your own emotions. I can assure you, hopes that they'll realize how much they care for them. But listen, it sounds desperate when you go after someone and try to get their attention by begging. Additionally, nobody wants to be with someone who sees themselves as the center of the universe. Asking for attention makes you sound like you can't stand being alone, or that you need their approval to be happy. But no one likes to be responsible for making other people happy. Just think back to a time when you were in charge. Your communication with her was not characterized by an excessive volume of messages or constant phone calls. You were preoccupied with your own thoughts. What occurred while you were busy enjoying life to the fullest and doing what made you happy? Her interest started to grow. She yearned for your presence when you were at your most confident and relaxed. When you weren't trying to get her attention, would you recognize that? No matter how much you pleaded, she remained evaded. Stopping your dogged pursuit will give her time to miss you and be perplexed by your sudden disappearance. When you stop being someone who is always available, you start becoming someone worthwhile, someone with a life and a purpose. Things start to shift after that. When you stop focusing on getting her attention, you start to appreciate yourself. Plus, she will reciprocate when you treat yourself with respect. Love isn't about proving yourself to someone. Remember that at all times. The key is not to constantly beg, but to show the other person that they can love, trust, and admire you for who you are without becoming possessive. I think you'll agree that's far more attractive. 4. Maintain emotional strength. When you fall in love, you will experience real emotional highs and lows. You've probably felt every feeling a human being can feel, from joy to anger. But have you ever noticed that those feelings get much worse when you feel like you're losing control? When she seems distant or uncaring, or when she fails to provide the attention you crave, it can be very intimidating. However, you need to have emotional strength right now. Think back on a time when you felt very exposed and vulnerable in a personal setting. Maybe something she said or did hurt you or made you question her emotions. What was your response? Has your emotional state caused you to act rashly? Or have you calmed down, gathered yourself, and thought things out beforehand? Anyone who has been there knows exactly what I'm talking about. When we give in to our feelings, we often act or speak in ways that aren't beneficial to ourselves. Similar to being in the midst of a hurricane, you may either give in and allow yourself be consumed, or you can ground yourself and wait it out. Mastering emotional stability during challenging times is of utmost importance. Maintaining emotional resilience is a sign of maturity, and resilience in the face of adversity. You don't require validation or reassurance from anyone all the time. Instead, you're calm and collected no matter what comes your way. Picture this. She says something upsetting, but you take a deep breath, pause, and respond logically. Rather than reacting impulsively, being able to control your emotions in this way demonstrates maturity and value, and it also aids in avoiding unnecessary drama. How long has it been since you felt totally in control of your emotions? Can you remember a time when you were able to keep your cool under pressure? Recall the times when you were resolute and tap into your inner strength. At other times, people can see right through you. Building inner resilience is more important than putting on an air of calmness. When it comes to being emotionally robust, it's about being confident in your ability to handle any situation. You don't need anybody else to make you entire. You already are. A positive attitude like this has a ripple effect. Instead of being cold and distant, prioritize stability, self-awareness, and sticking to your convictions. Seeing how you skillfully handle life's obstacles will start to change her perception of you. Can you think of a time when you were able to keep your emotions in check? In what ways did it impact what happened next? Having emotional strength enables you to stay calm when everything around you seems to be crumbling. That is, without a doubt, a charming trait. 5. Elevate your self-esteem. Is there a time in your relationship when you felt completely secure at first, but then things began to change? Maybe you came to terms with the fact that the other person was really important to you, that you often doubted your own judgment, or that you relied on their approval more than you thought. Maybe you've had poor self-esteem and started to doubt your skills. I know firsthand how draining it is if you've ever been through something comparable. Tell me about the feeling you had when you were giving it your all. When was the last time you felt good about who you were, how you looked, and didn't care what other people thought of you? In those instances, how did you act? How were people's reactions when you were feeling your most assured? To be really honest, those were probably the moments when you felt the strongest, most beautiful, and most alive. Your sense of self-worth determines how other people see you. End of story. When you treat yourself with the respect you are worthy of, people will do the same. Everything changes when you have faith in yourself and know that you deserve love, respect, and happiness. Join me as we go back to a story. There was a period when I was seeing someone who seemed like the perfect companion. In the beginning, I was absolutely thrilled. But as time went on, I started to slowly fade away from who I really was, my worth, my judgments, and whether or not I deserved the love I was feeling were all called into doubt. What then happened? As my uncertainty intensified, she became more and more distant. The more I sought her approval, the more she seemed uninterested. I felt like I was starting to change from the person I had been when we first met. There was a light bulb moment for me. Loving oneself is the first step in loving another. Before you ask another person to love you, love yourself. To be confident is not to be arrogant or self-centered, but to love and accept oneself completely, to have trust in one's talents, and to behave in accordance with those beliefs. How long has it been since you were with someone who radiated complete confidence? Someone who could walk into a room and command everyone's attention without using boastful techniques? Energy like that is absolutely mesmerizing, isn't it? That happens when one has a healthy sense of self-worth. It entices you. When you treat yourself with the respect and dignity you deserve, it shows in your relationships. From now on, we shall settle for nothing less. Impoliteness, incoherence, and dishonesty will not be tolerated any longer. Attracting people who will value you depends on your ability to let go of those who do not. However, let's take a step back and look at the whole picture. Take a moment to reflect on a time when you did little to prevent someone from putting you down. Someone may have done that by treating you like a statistic, disregarding your worth or highlighting your flaws. How did that go for you? Holding on to those memories can bring on unpleasant feelings like anger or irritation on top of the discomfort. Imagine the alternative outcomes that could have unfolded had you acknowledged your worth and acted accordingly earlier. Imagine a world where you knew your worth and just said, "I refuse to have this treated this way," and then walked away. Your life would have been completely changed. It would have changed the whole dynamic, didn't it? If you want to take charge of your life and the relationships in it, you need to work on your self-esteem. You stop caring about what other people think of you when you love and accept yourself. People who feel the same way about you will gravitate toward you when you exude self-love. Those who truly appreciate, honor, and respect you for who you are will be the ones you gravitate toward. Stop seeking other people's approval and you'll become the most attractive version of yourself. Right now, I'm curious to know, how do you feel about yourself? Does your current way of life represent your worth? The quality of your life will change drastically after you work on your self-esteem. Your relationships, the quality of your interactions with others, and your self-perception will all undergo a change. Never forget that you are worthy of nothing less than the greatest affection, reverence, and attention. Start with yourself. Be confident in your value. Furthermore, you will begin to observe a change in how other people perceive you as a result of this. Conclusion. I hope you understand now that these 5 tactics have nothing to do with manipulation or games. To become a better communicator, you need to know yourself and understand other people. Changing her conduct and your own sense of self-worth are both possible outcomes of doing these. With that stated, I'll catch you later, and thank you for checking in.